Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Fit Aid Lounge in the Morning Chalk Up Show, presented by Nike. I'm Tommy Marquez alongside Brittany Klein and Justin LaFranco. One day of competition is in the books. We're looking forward to day two. We just had a workout announced. We'll touch on that in just a second. But guys, kind of reflecting on the first of 4 days of competition at the CrossFit Games, what kind of sticks out?
Oh, well, there was so much speculation, but day one in the books now, and we're back. The big names have shown up in the CrossFit Games 2019. It looks like it's going to be, bigger, better than ever because, they're all showing up, but the spread in the leaderboard isn't too big. Matt Fraser made history yesterday, taking the first two events, but especially on the men's side of the competition, it's tight up the top there, so I'm really looking forward to day two.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise. I think there's two names that stuck out to me. Ben Smith being just already performing extremely well and very consistent across two events, and then Sarah Sigmund-Sauter, I think, having just a bit of a poor day. But altogether, this was a classic CrossFit day, and I know we're going to get into this later in the show. I'm really looking forward to seeing the next event and moving into what we consider more of the Games-esque type out of the stadium movements and stuff, and so this is going to be a great day here at Madison.
No doubt, we have a jam-packed day number two, so we're going to get you guys updated on what the daily schedule looks like. Here's what's in store for you guys for day number two of competition, as well as our broadcast schedule. At 10 a.m., team event 4 kicks off. That's at the North Park. We actually just found out that's a ruck run. Immediately followed by the individuals at 11 a.m. That's a ruck run as well. Teams will reload at 12 p.m. for event number 5. Individuals will have event 4 at 1:15. We'll come and kind of fill you guys in on all the analysis and breakdown of those events with our afternoon show at 2:15. At 3:30, individuals hit their third and final workout of the day, and then we'll be here to wrap it all up for you guys at 5:30 p.m. Now, there's so much to do here at the CrossFit Games, and as a fan, not only do you get to see some of your favorite athletes, you get to see some of your favorite brands as well. A ton of exclusive stuff. Brittany, I know you had a chance to go into Vendor Village, and we're going to take a look at what Brittany was able to uncover when she walked to Vendor Village this year at the Games.
Nothing without the fans, and the Vendors Pavilion is their chance to get their products in front of spectators.
The community experience is the whole reason that we come.
It's really awesome seeing all the different vendors and how open they are and really trying to help us out with our CrossFit.
This is our third year at the CrossFit Games. We started in 2017, that's when we launched, was here, and then 2018 a little bit bigger. 2019 now we're at this opportunity where people actually recognize us, and it's like, oh, I've heard of you guys, I've seen you guys, I've had you guys, my gym carries you guys. So that's probably the newest experience for us, is that we're recognized and we're growing.
So this year, I believe this is our 6th year now at the Games, and we've actually brought our old Wadapalooza setup. We did a couple years back, which is the first time we brought it here, but we're also doing a in-person build your own shirt this year, which is new for us.
Got a little of everything. Different colors, it's pretty colors this year.
Shitload of stuff. Look at that, shorts, the sweaters, patches, awesome patches. That's really cool.
We all live in an internet world these days, so it's kind of really important to get out in front of people and shake hands and meet people behind the brands, or for us to meet our customers face to face.
It's an awesome opportunity for us to service the community that created us as a company in the beginning. People take advantage of the free Fit Aid we give out. They're quite shocked to hear that we don't charge them for it, so they end up drinking a lot more than they probably should, which is good. It's a healthy drink, so no problems there, but overdose on vitamins tends to be the side effect.
Any advice for anyone coming down? Get in early?
Get in early because the sizes go fast.
It's awesome.
It's very awesome.
Yeah.
Could love someone like me.
Got tons of supplements, sweet gear, all sorts of Games exclusive stuff. Brittany, you went through Vendor Village. Did you pick up any cool new stuff to take home to Australia?
Well, I think I was like Logan, I was ODing on the Fit Aids, but I also brought over a suitcase, very well prepared, a whole suitcase to bring stuff back for everyone at my box at home. So yeah, it's really exciting for a fan like me who comes all the way over from the other side of the world. And we've run into a lot of people out and about who've traveled from Australia, from all around the globe. So it's great for the community and great for these brands for us to check out these products from, exclusive products, brand new stuff. It's part of the fun of coming to the CrossFit Games.
Bringing the extra suitcase, that is a veteran move. I have to respect that. I brought one too just in case, you know, I'm gonna have to do some shopping a little bit later on. But we'll transition now and take a look at some competitions, starting with the team competition. And we just found out what the first team event for the day is gonna be. We actually got an announcement just a few minutes ago. Let's take a look at what the teams are gonna tackle for the first event. It is gonna be a ruck run. It is gonna be 6,000 meters. And each lap, so each lap is going to be 1,500 meters, and for every lap, the teams are actually going to add some weight here. So certainly going to be a stout test for these. Team event. My apologies. Team event is going off first. Let's take a look at it. It's on your screen. 6,000 meter run, 4 laps, 1,500 meters. That's also the individual event too. I kind of jumped the gun here. We're looking at team event right now, but guys, taking a quick look at this workout description, what really stands out for the team competition?
Well, I actually spoke to some of the members of Project X this morning just to hear their thoughts after it was announced. And Brandon Swan says, I'm so glad that I'm doing it with the team because this isn't going to be a run, it's going to be a grind. They'll obviously be holding the rope together, so it's all about teamwork, but it's a classic military style event and they've just got to get through it, grit, run, 40-minute time cap, I think it is for both the individuals and the teams. So it's going to be a grind and it's going to be a long one, but it's all about the communication on the run and seeing how the rest of the team's feeling and picking that pace and rolling with it.
Yeah, like I like the fact they're adding weight. I think this is really cool. We've seen like increasing loads in certain events where it's a clean and jerk or a deadlift ladder. It's not exactly what I would call a ruck ladder, but I think that's a really cool and very interesting dynamic there because, you know, clearly as you're getting more fatigued, the load is increasing. And so I'm just really excited to see how this plays out because we've never seen sort of a outdoor event that incorporates like an odd object and over distance and increasing loads. I think that's kind of very interesting.
Yeah, and so we're actually, I jumped the gun a little bit, taking a look at the teams. We're actually going to go back and look at the individual event as well that actually got announced too. Very similar in format. We're going to have it here for you in just a second on your screen. It's 6,000 meters as well. 4 laps, 1,500 meter course, basically a mile every run. This is what they're gonna add, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds. That's what they're gonna be carrying on their back for each lap. So taking a look at the women's standings after day number 1, here are your overall leaders. Carrie Pierce, trying to break the American streak at the top. She's in first place overall after 2 events, followed closely by the 2-time champ Annie Thorsdottir, Tia Toomey, also a 2-time champ in third. Holta, Wells, round out the top 5. Some impressive performances by rookies so far. We talked about a little bit last night. Haley Adams in 6th, then an event win. An event 2 by Danielle Brandon gets her up into 7th place overall. Guys, taking a look at the leaderboard, not just at the top 10 here, but maybe some big names who are outside the top. Who are some women you expect to do well and who might be on the move after this event?
Well, this is Sam Griggs' event to lose, I guess. I think she's sitting in 22nd place, but the point spread again isn't too big after day 1, so she should make a flight towards the top there. And Tia Toomey, former fittest woman on earth, we know that she'll do well in this event. Historically, with runs for runs, she's always been at the top, so this could be her push to the leaders jersey, I think.
Yeah, like I'm looking at this from a numbers game, right? So, you know, this is it. This is another 10 athlete cut. And so how are the people that are on the bubble going to perform? And I look at a Sigmundsdottir who just didn't have the day 1 that she wanted, but that's over. Okay, so like let's go on to day 2. She needs to perform in this event. She's a worker and a hard worker, and she likes to put her head down and grind. So I'm very interested to see her doing that. Also, I'm looking at Danny Spiegel, who's a classic weightlifter and a pretty dang good gymnast, and she walks on her hands very well for how much she lifts. And I want to see how she does now in a traditional CrossFit Games type event. This is where regionals and CrossFit Games is different, and sanctionals is a lot like regionals, though now it's a little bit more outside and more outdoors. I'm really curious to see how she adapts to this new environment with Dave Castro programming.
And this is quite similar to an event that we saw at the Rogue Invitational, the likes of Tia Toomey. They've done this before, so I think that will give them an advantage heading into the first event of today.
And typically in the past, we saw some events from regionals kind of get beefed up for the games. This time we saw a ruck at Rogue, we see a ruck here, but maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit more brutal, so it should be exciting to see play out. Transitioning over to the men's side of things, and here are your overall standings for the men after day number 1. No surprise, Matt Fraser is at the top. He goes 2 for 2, sets sets a record for the first individual athlete to win both of the first 2 events to start the CrossFit Games. Right behind him, Scott Panchik. I love seeing this. The longtime veteran, usually in the top 10, only been outside the top 10 once. Trying to break that kind of curse of not making the podium. James Newberry in 3rd, certainly impressive. Finally kind of coming into his own at the Games. Ben Smith, the wild card, in 4th. Vellner, Olsen, guys we're used to seeing in the top 10, rounding it out. The lone rookie in the top 10, Sam Cornier, is training partner Patrick Vellner. He's having a strong performance as well, along with Jacob Hepner. Now, guys, similar question to the women. There's a few athletes outside the top 10 that performed very well last year, maybe hoping to make a push. Who are you looking at in this event to do well and maybe make some moves?
Well, Cole Sager's won. I mean, he won this event at the Rogue Invitational. He's sitting in, I think it was a 15th. He could really make a push up towards the top. I mean, Matt Fraser, Vellner, they've done this event before at Rogue. I also like to see Brett Bukowski really make a push again. He's in 15th, and he was looking pretty sore and sorry after event number 1. We were down there on the sidelines with him, and he was really taking a long time to recover after that snatched event. So hopefully, you know, he's rested well. He's got lots of food in him, and he's ready for a 6K run.
Yeah, right. I know. Just a casual way to start the day. So I love your pick about Cole Sager. He is an odd object mover. He loves to pick things up and move things. Also of note, I think it's really interesting that this is the day 2 kickoff event that Hunter McIntyre would have absolutely loved to do.
Gone.
And he's gone. But the reason why I bring that up is you have to earn your right to compete and to continue in this format. And he put the test out there and said, okay, we're going to weed the field out and we're going to say, all right, who belongs with the rest of the athletes? If you don't pass the test, you don't get to compete. And this is the one that when he saw, I guarantee you, this morning, he was thinking like, gosh dang it, I would have crushed that. And you know what? You get to run your mouth as much as you want, but if you don't show up and perform, you don't get to take the next test. So with that being said, I like Cole Sager. I also like Jacob Hepner because Jacob loves volume, and this has got a whole lot of it. He works out outside all the time. Kansas, it's hot. I see him there doing that, and I like where he's at right now. He passed the great CrossFit test. I want to see him here. I think this is going to be fun to watch for him.
I love the Hepner pick. I love the Bukowski pick as well. Hepner known for some of these grueling longer workouts. He said he lives in Kansas, likes to throw on the ruck pack, go out for runs out in the forest there a little bit. And I also like the point about having to earn your kind of specialty, I guess. It's been a kind of hallmark of Dave Castro programming. Hey, you can have the thing that you're best at, but you have to earn it first with some classic CrossFit. He does so by kind of weeding out some of the fields and maybe some of the specialists coming into the day. Transitioning over to the team competition, we showed you guys the team workout just a little bit earlier. Let's take a look at the team overall standings after day number 1. And once again, the 2-time champion, Mayhem Freedom, are your overall leaders after day 1, and 3 scored events on day 1 for the teams. They were in first, 293 points. In second place, CrossFit Krypton, pretty sizable points gap just to start, but holding strong in second. The Central Beast, a lot of hype about them coming in, performing well so far. In third overall, Invictus Boston, rounding out the top 5. Guys, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but maybe who's a team you think could do pretty well here in this event?
I think, again, teamwork will be the key. It's a military style event. They're holding that rope together, so you're only as fast, I guess, as your slowest competitor. So I like OC3, Mayhem again. They train together every day. That communication is key. Just a point there, rounding out the top 10 exterminators. We saw on the field yesterday, Kate Gordon took a bit of a tumble from the rope climb, and I spoke to her overnight. She says she's feeling okay. She'll see how it pans out, but with a sore, knee, ankle, and a 6K run ahead, that could be providing a bit of concern for our Aussie team.
So, this is a really interesting event, right? You brought it up. It's like you're only as fast as your slowest athlete, and that's part of the reason why synchro has been brought into it. It exposes a weak link in your training, and if somebody doesn't have toes to bar, you're not going to be able to advance in the field of play, right? So, I love people that can move big weight, but can they move big weight fast? And so it immediately jumps out as how well is a team like Invictus Boston, which has not traditionally been a great running team, and they lost one of their best runners, which is Meg Reardon. How well are they going to handle big weight over a large distance at a fast pace, which is kind of a definition of CrossFit. So if you've taken your L1, you kind of know where I'm going here is, can they do that? And I'm looking at that, but Mayhem is another pick. They're always running. They are always working together as a team and in tandem. Rich Froning is a master programmer for the competitive space, and I really do not see them losing this event. I think someone's going to have to win it.
I love it. I think the aspect of having to hold the rope, like you guys have both mentioned, forcing all the teams to kind of be together in this, forcing you to only be as fast as your weak link. You know, it kind of looks like one of those child leashes, but for a team that you see some people walking around.
It's like those little monkey leashes on their kids.
Your buddy system. Make sure you have your whole team together. But I think it's going to be a cool nuance for this team, just so you don't have people blasting it and then waiting around for their last athlete. Speaking of running, we're going to have a pretty good guest who knows his way around running in just a moment. But Brittany got to get off campus the other day, go check out one of the really cool things that we have for the athletes here at the CrossFit Games, and that's the Fit Barge, the Reebok Fit Barge. They basically set up a gym floating in the middle of Lake Monona, and Brittany got to check it out. So here, take a look.
I belong to you.
It's not just what happens at North Park or in the Coliseum. For fans, there's the Reebok Fit Barge. Enjoying this Madison weather, the beautiful lake. We're going to jump on board and see what's in store.
And I always be around.
So my name is Kevin. I'm here with Reebok at the Reebok Fit Barge. We're having a couple of cool classes, including CrossFit, Les Mills, boot camp, yoga, bar, stand-up paddle, polo, pretty much anything you can possibly imagine out in the water. This is our second year doing the barge, third year is Reebok CrossFit in Madison.
The Madison community is awesome, and just like, I feel like when people come to visit, they love it here. There's so much to do.
You know, the community aspect of it, like we just met 5 people and now I feel like we're friends.
Well, this year we also expanded beyond the barge. We have classes going all throughout Madison. We have a really cool Ragnar relay that people are doing. We also have our Midnight Runners group, which is a cool 5K boot camp style running mixed fitness class as well.
Well, I'm not sure whether we'll see the athletes put through an event like this. A bar class, so tell me, I don't know whether Pilates bar's a thing. We're talking kayaking, stand-up paddle boards. We can be tested like the athletes are, you know, the unknown and unknowable.
So the total number that we've had signed up that are ready for classes are 1,100. We actually have a 900 person waiting list, which allows us to have roughly between, depending on what class it is, 25 to 35 people on the barge.
What's your advice then for people who have seen this video and they're like, I want in?
Well, like the people that were just here about a half hour ago, we had about 30 people on the barge that had not signed up for a class. They either paddleboarded out, took a boat, some people swam. You're welcome to come up on the barge in between classes, hang out. We have some games like fitness, Jenga, and we have some Connect 4 and stuff, but also people came up and did a workout themselves if they like to. We're always here kind of from 7 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. to do whatever we can, whether it's class or in between.
You heard it here first. Even though there's that lengthy waiting list, you grab your goggles, come out for a swim, grab a kayak, make your way out to the barge and enjoy the ultimate fan experience here at the CrossFit Games.
A little jealous of Brittany getting to go out there and have a good time on the Reebok Fit Barge. If you guys have a chance, go check it out. It's a really cool way to get your workout in here at the CrossFit Games as a fan. We mentioned we would have a special guest here that was probably going to be pumped about a little bit of running and some ruck running, and he's joining us now at the set. Chris Hinshaw, aerobic capacity, one of the brightest minds in CrossFit. I got to give you all the credit in the world. Chris, thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh my gosh, Tommy, thank you so much. Just thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate being here.
Welcome.
And so, you know, you used to be the subject matter expert of aerobic capacity, and there's kind of a shift organization in how that's run. A lot of the subject matter experts are rebranding. They get ownership over their own course now. What's kind of next in that vein for aerobic capacity?
So what CrossFit did is they eliminated these subject matter expert specialty type courses and then rolled them into what they call a preferred course. The content within the preferred course still follows the same exacting standards set up by the CrossFit training department, but what they've done is they've essentially given us a lot more autonomy to come up with next generation ideas. We can come up with pricing, we can come up with more host spaces, we can do more promotional things.
Essentially, you can develop the business the way you want to develop it.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, part of the weakness was with CrossFit was that when we would create leads, it would go into their platform and we would lose the analytics. Now we see everything. We get much more hands-on information with the consumer, which makes it really easy for us.
And so on top of educating the masses, you also work with a handful of the top athletes. spending most of the year traveling around, getting to work with some of the best in the sport. But now we're here at the CrossFit Games. So what does your role in terms of assisting these athletes look like here on site?
So that's the beauty of the elites. I mean, if you look at Fraser, his work has been done. I mean, his mind is really, really been developed. He looks at workouts like this and he can immediately make an assessment of how he needs to attack it. And the beauty is that he attacks it with precision because of his level of experience. I mean, this next workout that they announced, it's going to really decimate a lot of people because they're just simply not prepared strategically.
And is that something that you guys work on throughout the season in terms of the programming and kind of the mindset aspect when you guys get to work together in person?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just take this ruck run. The fact is that the loads are going to increase every 1,500 meters. What's going to happen when that load gets consistently higher and higher is that their stride length is going to get shorter and shorter. Well, if you've never actually trained a short stride length, meaning a jog, you're just simply not prepared. If you train for sprinting, you're good at sprinting. If you train at jogging, you know what? You're going to do well in this workout. The fact is that Fraser trains 13 different intensities just in the movement of running.
Wow.
So it doesn't matter for him what time domain comes up. He just looks at it and says, all right, I know the approximate time domain of this. I know what speed I need to hit it at.
And so just a quick question. So like, you know, I've done like weighted runs and we've all done Murph, so we know a little bit what it's like to run a mile. But how is this going to affect the body over time? Like, what do you think is going to be some of the big pain points in this ruck?
So this is not going to be a muscular issue. I mean, the fact is that these athletes have trained their muscles to perform over long amounts of time, multiple days. I mean, the training routine that the elites have is I mean, this is nothing for them. But I'm worried about the structure. I'm worried about the ligaments, the tendons, the joints. That's where we're going to see the damage. And I find that what's really exciting about throwing this kind of an event on day 2 is like, I mean, let's face it, the athletes are already on edge with the point structure today. But this event and throwing it here, it's like, wow, what else is going to be happening? I mean, athletes are already talking about permits being pulled and they're going to be doing some kind of a swim on Sunday. It's like, well, wait a minute. Are we going to also now have to run back here? And what's that going to entail?
Yeah.
That's where they're really nervous, because if they get structural damage today, good luck on Sunday.
And so with that in mind, if some people are watching at home and maybe looking at this workout and that's something that they want to try, what's maybe something you would suggest to kind of help some people who are following along, maybe train for something like that so you can avoid some stuff like that?
So that's the beauty of like the GoRuck product, is that they're really truly designed to fit on your back and stay stable on your back. If you just try and throw in a bunch of weights into a backpack and go for a run, that's apples and oranges. The key is to make sure that that pack is part of you, meaning that you have a monolithic structure where the backpack is part of you.
Yeah, it's not bouncing up and down
right
on your back. And
a lot of athletes, they think that if I make it too restrictive across the chest and the waist and strap that thing down, that now I have breathing restriction. But the thing is you have to weigh out the positives and negatives. A breathing restriction is way better than 50 pounds sloshing around on your back. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man. And so maybe kind of giving your expert opinion, who are some athletes that you're really excited to kind of tackle this workout and see how they do?
So, I mean, I'm lucky enough to work with some top athletes, and I'll give you some insights. So Fraser did a workout that is a marathon predictor workout. He did Yasso's 800 about 3 weeks ago. He ran 10 by 800 meters with a work to rest of 1-to-1. He was averaging somewhere around 2 minutes and 50 seconds per 800, which is incredible. The fact is that time domain of that workout is perfectly suited for the time domain in this workout. He did something truly special in that 10 by 800, and I would fully expect to see something special from him today.
That's amazing. I remember one of the stats that always jumps out of my mind. I remember you talking to me about Murph a few years ago, and you were like, Fraser's like a 5'10" miler. People don't realize how good he is at running, and he's going to surprise some people, and he certainly did. But speaking of special performances, Haley Adams is in 6th right now.
Crazy.
she's smashing it. And I know you have a special relationship with her because she's living with you guys while she waits to kind of move into her freshman dorm at Tennessee Tech. You get to work with her. Heidi gets to work with her on a regular basis. What's it like to see a young athlete like Haley that you're close with perform so well at her rookie debut on the big stage at the individual competition of the CrossFit Games?
So the beauty of Haley Adams is that she's truly walking around in this sense of bewilderment. She can't even believe what she's constantly capable of doing, meaning she's like almost impressing herself at every little moment. And so it's really truly this environment that she's having fun. And that's what I admire. The way that she actually got to be able to work with Mayhem and Rich Froning was she came to visit us back in early December, and she shows up at Rich's house, and Tia's there and Froning's there, and she's like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do today. You know what I think I'll do? I think I'm going to row a marathon. And she sat down, never got out of the chair, went 3 hours and 10 minutes, and I think that would have placed her like 12th place overall. She had a small half of a water bottle, and she didn't even realize that that was anything special. It was just another workout for her, as if you were just running to the mailbox and back.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I would just sit down.
I'm not going to be busy tomorrow. You want to saddle up?
No, it's like
just a little warm up.
I know. Well, she'll routinely, like with Heidi, just go on the back deck and they'll pull a half marathon and just do it nonstop. The mindset is really remarkable when you are in that bewilderment because you have no idea what the body's limitations are because everything you do, it just happens.
I think Haley's specifically very impressive. One, because she's qualified for regionals for 2 years while she was a teen athlete, but she's now one of only 3 athletes, and they all happened in the same year, to actually move from the team division to the individual division. Guy, Haley, and then George Sterner. And I'm like just very impressed with her poise at such a young age. I've seen her at the sanctionals competitions, and she's an adult. And it's amazing the maturity that she has, not only as an athlete, but as an individual, and she holds herself really high. And it's clear why she's performing. Like she's been training hard, training with the right athletes, getting the right coaching that she needs, and maturing as an individual. And like, I'm not that surprised that she's 6th.
Yeah. I mean, I think that also training with Rich Froning
it's huge.
Is an incredible thing. Like yesterday after the first workout, she just said, wow, it just felt like another workout in the barn. Which, how do you even say that? Where's the stress? Where's like the adrenaline rush?
Apparently Dave needs to step his game up because there's a few athletes around here that just don't think this is anything more than just another day.
But that, I'll tell you what, so I'm a huge fan of programming. I love like looking at the way in which workouts are designed. I mean, that second workout, the way that it was structured was truly incredible. I mean, everything from the rep schemes that they had to do, that handstand walk, and the distances that they had to go in those segments, but the way in which it was structured, like you would talk to athletes and they're like, okay, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of use all legs for the row and preserve my arms. Well, the fact is that you needed your legs for that shoulder to overhead, and you saw people, doing a push press.
Yeah.
But that constant push, everybody's just like, well, wait a minute. And you saw people just hemorrhaging, and even the best of the best.
Yeah.
Tia failed. Haley failed. Yep. You had Sam Briggs failing. You had
great
Katrin
handstand
failing.
walkers.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, Katrin failed.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that shows you the devastation that these small little muscle groups, with putting that amount of load under high intensity, it was like they've never tested those things
I would really
before.
like to hear from Dave about the test, how he went about testing this workout, the loading that he used, and the distances, because he gets really meticulous with this. And just when you look at the kettlebells themselves, you're like, oh, no big deal. That's super. We can all do push press with that kettlebell weight. Most athletes here can do push presses with that kettlebell weight. But it's like, all right, dangle the carrot a little bit. Do you, how close to the line do you want to ride? And it's dangerous, and it proved dangerous, and the distances too.
Absolutely.
Of how far you have to go before. We saw Sarah Sigmundsdottir like 5 feet before the end, and she just messed up. And it's like, once that 44 feet is a really long ways to have to go, and decide, like I made a mistake and I got to walk all the way back and then pay for it.
Right. Well, I mean, we saw that in the rope climbs.
Yes.
I mean, the fact is that the height of that rope, I mean, even Frazier, he genuinely struggled at the top of that rope.
Yeah, it was like 18 feet or something like that.
But the combination of all of those things, you saw it, where that last set of rope climbs was devastating for even the best of the best.
Yeah.
I also, as a fan, I mean, let's face it, we're all fans of this sport. It's still a show. Coming here this year, I was nervous because last year was such an amazing show.
Mm-hmm.
That first day, it was just nail biting the whole time. It was a show.
Yeah.
And it was true CrossFitting.
Yeah.
It wasn't but a bunch of circus performances and things. It was true CrossFitting, and can you dig down and grit it out?
Classic CrossFit plus a little bit of the showmanship and the entertainment aspect in terms of the visually watching those athletes march to the finish. That's quintessential CrossFit Games programming as far as the spectacle is concerned once you get to the big stage. Chris, really appreciate you joining the set for us today. Where can people kind of catch up with you when you're out and about and follow along with Aerobic Capacity?
So aerobiccapacity.com. So the site, we have programming that's available for people, and then we have our preferred course with CrossFit. I also list in there camps and seminars, like I do Power Monkey twice a year with Dave Durrani and that crew there, and then specialty things as well. So aerobiccapacity.com. No, thank you, Tommy. I always appreciate coming on, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.
Always good having you on.
Same, man.
Chris Hinshaw, everybody. That's going to do it for our show right now. We'll come back at the midday at 2:15. We'll send you guys back out to competition. Coming up first is team event number 4.